Where death, violence, and sorrow meet, demons will surely follow. You love the first one so much, we are back again with another. Hey Top 10 fam, I'm Rachel Fisher and we're back with part 2 of Top 10 Demons That Left Behind Horrifying Things. From skulls in the wall to gates of hell. Today's video will ask the question, are there only bad demons? Get ready to add to your list a bunch of places to avoid and objects to ignore. Let's get started. Number 10, the Screaming Skull. Wherever there is tragedy and violence, demons love to live there, which could be the case for Agnes Hall. This magnificent hall was built in the early 17th century by Sir Henry Griffith and his 3 daughters. The youngest, Anne, was particularly fond of it and developed a very strong attachment to it immediately. She was excited for their life there, but one day she came across robbers who took everything she had and left her severely beaten. By the time she was discovered, it was too late to save her and she fell into a fever. In her final hours, she made her sisters promise to bring her head into the house so that a piece of her would always be there and that she'd be able to see the final product. They didn't do what she asked until each night they heard screams of pain and anguish. Finally, they brought her skull into the house thinking that would help, but strangely when they dug her up, the head was already detached and clean of flesh. They concealed it within the walls and the screams discontinued, but some even say you can still see Anne walking around the grounds. I mean, technically a ghost, but why was her head detached? Why was there no flesh? I'm just saying that's creepy and very demonic to me. So anyways, moving on. Number 9. The Hand Resist Him Painting. One of my absolute favorite books is The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde. I love it. It tells the story of a man whose soul is trapped inside of a painting. In a way, that's what we're trying to do every time we take a picture, or in this case, paint one. We want to preserve a moment in time so it never ages. The Hand Resist Him painting by Bill Stoneham tried to do just that, but instead, he released something dark and twisted into the world. The painting is an artistic interpretation of a photo taken of him and one of his neighbors when they were kids. The hands behind the glass represented his unknown family, as Stoneham was adopted. Each time the painting changed hands, someone died, including Godfather actor John Marley. It resurfaced after it was abandoned in an old brewery turned art gallery and was sold to a family on eBay. Not long after that though, their children started screaming, saying that the children in the painting would come into their rooms and fight. The father set up a camera to prove nothing happened so that he could be like, kids, calm down. But then, he saw in the video the boy in the painting move. We all know demons like to attach themselves to pain and sorrow. What if while bringing this piece to life, he also allowed for something else to come through as well? Number 8. The Anguished Man Painting. You may have heard and seen the famous The Scream painting. You know that one? But though this one looks similar, it is far more terrifying. Remember that Dorian Gray thing? Well, this is kind of like that, but also more like the Velvet Buzzsaw with Toni Collette and Jake Gyllenhaal. Great movie, by the way. Very scary. Well, it looks like the artist basically did just that, minus the immortality. Sean Robinson inherited this painting from his grandmother, who said that the artist had mixed their own blood with the paint. Shortly after it was completed, the artist took his own life, and that is all people seem to know of its origin or the artist. But right there, you've already got some prime ingredients for demonic possession: grief, misery, and death. As soon as the painting arrived in the house, strange things started happening. At night, they heard someone crawling across the floor, crying, banging, and screaming could be heard. And then there's this video that Sean set up to record any strange happenings. His wife and dog are totally creeped out by it, his wife having felt a presence touch her multiple times in the house, and the dog won't go near it. And I think we all know if a dog won't go near someone or something, not to be trusted. It's bad news. They got the sense, they know. Number 7, the Letta doll. Last time we talked about Annabelle, but get ready for Letta. Letta has to be one of the creepiest dolls of all time. Like, she looks like where Annabelle doesn't look creepy, Letta does. Letta was found underneath an abandoned house in New South Wales. The doll is said to be over 200 years old and has a head of real human hair. Also, look at this doll. If it doesn't give you the absolute creeps, I don't know what will. You've got like a liver of steel, who knows. Mr. Walton became one of Letta's owners and soon started to notice some pretty strange events. Guests coming over to the house would suddenly feel sick and disturbed when they were around the doll. Walton himself noticed scuffs on the floor leading to Letta as if they'd gotten up and walked around. Some say the spirit of a young boy who drowned is tied to the doll, while others believe it's something far more powerful. Jury is still out as to whether this doll is possessed by one of the bad guys, aka awful demons, or a good guy. Some even kiss Letta for luck. I wouldn't kiss that doll. Just saying. Alright, number 6. Thomas Busby's chair. For many, a local pub can feel like home. And it was no different for Thomas Busby, an infamous killer delighted with his crimes. He was set to hang for his crimes in 1702, and for his last meal he asked that he be served in his favorite pub in Thirsk, England. After he stood up, he said, "May sudden death come to anyone who dares sit in my chair." Now, if you're evil enough in life, chances are you'll come back as a demon. Throwback to Asmodeus. The chair remained at the pub for centuries, locals daring each other to sit in it. But it wasn't until World War II that people noticed that any soldier who sat there wouldn't return from war. I mean, the odds were against them. But from there, a roofer, 2 pilots, a mason, and a cleaning lady all died mysteriously in sudden deaths after they'd sat in the chair, and the death toll kept rising.
Earn free crypto just by learning about it. Coinbase Earn is the fast, easy, and rewarding way to learn about crypto.
Eventually, the chair was donated to a museum in 1972 and was hung on the wall so it could not claim another soul. Number 5. The Chained Oak. This story is a kind of weird hybrid between Beauty and the Beast and a banshee and a demon, just a lot. The Chained Oak tree is a tree literally wrapped in chains in Alton, Staffordshire, England. Legend goes that the 15th Earl of Shrewsbury was riding past it when he came across an old beggar woman. As the Earl passed by, he shunned her pleas for money, and as a result, she cursed him. Or maybe if she was a demon, he fell prey to a plan she had all along. For every branch that fell from the tree, a member of his family would die. No sooner did one of the branches break off during the storm did he lose a loved one. So, he chained up the tree to prevent any more from falling. Though the family is long since gone, people say to be wary of approaching in case that same old beggar woman picks you next. Number 4. The Woman from Lem statue. The Woman of Lem statue was discovered in 1878 in Lem, Cyprus. And if there's anything that should have stayed buried, probably this thing. Carved of pure limestone, it dates back to 3500 BC and is believed to represent a fertility goddess. Because she's curvy. She got curves for days. The first rumors of demonic activity surfaced after the first owner, Lord Elfont, experienced all 7 members of his family dying of mysterious diseases within the first 6 years he owned it. The same thing happened to the next 2 owners, Ivor Minucci and Lord Thompson Noel, who died along with their entire families. It wasn't until the 4th owner, Sir Alan Biverbrook, died along with his wife that their sons donated the item to the Royal Scottish Museum in Edinburgh. You can guess what happened next. The chief of the section where the statue dwelled suddenly died, and no one has handled the statue since. It just stays in a little glass box. Wherever this object goes, whoever touches it, death surely follows, and even skeptics can't deny that these deadly consequences have otherworldly hands. Number 3. The Cage. This place is an absolute breeding ground for demonic activity, considering its history of witchcraft and brutal deaths. The Cage is one of the most haunted places in Essex, having used to be a prison filled with women considered to be witches. An important one to note was Ursula Kemp. She was a healer, nursemaid, and was said to be able to remove curses from those hexed and provide healing drafts to the sick. She was a good person. But then someone got jealous and they accused her of being a witch along with 14 other women, and they were all hanged with their children left behind. Now a cottage, Vanessa Mitchell bought the property in 2005 and swears it's not just haunted, may have something darker inhabiting it. Along with the typical doors opening and shutting, technical difficulties, pots and pans flying, Vanessa constantly saw shadow people. It continued to escalate and happened at all hours of the day. The final straw was when she caught the image of a satanic goat-like image on camera. We all know what that means. Number 2. Abandoned homes. If you've ever heard or seen an abandoned house, chances are it's like that for a very demonic reason. If you've been with this channel for a while, then you know the deal. Today, I'm going to be talking about one house that was so badly haunted, it was condemned. Latoya Ammons and her 3 children lived in a home on Carolina Street in Gary, Indiana. Large black flies started swarming around the family's screened-in porch, and at night the family would hear footsteps and even saw shadowy figures. This is a sighting that paranormal investigators agree is a sure sign of a demon, not not a specter. Ammons even claims that she once saw her 12-year-old daughter levitate above her bed. Clairvoyants soon discovered that the house wasn't just haunted by one, but 200 demons. Zach Baggins, the executive producer of Ghost Adventurers, ended up buying the house from them and had it destroyed, saying, and I quote, "Something was inside that house that had the ability to do things that I have never seen before. Things that others carrying the highest forms of credibility couldn't explain either. There was something there that was very dark, yet highly intelligent and powerful." Unquote. Number 1. Stull Cemetery. Stull Cemetery in Kansas isn't your typical cemetery, though it looks like it. It has so much activity that many believe that it is in fact a gateway to hell. It is said to be so evil that even the Pope charters his plane around it, not over it. Every year, tourists flock to the cemetery in order to see if the devil will appear on Halloween. They even have to have police to protect him. This is clearly a place that demons created and where they originate from, and curse all those who pass. Even the beloved Ariana Grande had an encounter she will never forget. From disturbing pictures to shadows, Ariana swears the place is haunted by something no one should mess with. Paranormal investigators from Planet Weird checked out Stull Cemetery, and this is their experience.
We're here at Stull Cemetery now, and it's on fire. There's literal fires, patches of them all over the cemetery. It's not a controlled burn. We don't know where it's coming from. There's no bonfire anywhere.
What's most terrifying about the cemetery is not the fact that demons may have left it behind, but that they are still clearly living there. And that was our top 10 demons that left behind horrifying things. A part 2, and you know what you have to do if you want a part 3. You know the deal. Like, follow, subscribe, tell us about your nightmares in the comments, because I like reading them, they're interesting. I've been your host, Rachel Fisher, and until next time, take care. Okay. That was aggressive. It wasn't until the 4th owner started. I'm going too fast. It's fine. Just gonna get some water. Stay hydrated, my friends.